People see 60 years and assume the story is already written. They hear the number and think of anniversaries, photographs, something solid that must have worked. I'm aware of that assumption every time someone nods with approval when I mention how long we stayed married. From the outside, our life looked steady. One home for decades, shared routines, familiar roles that fit well enough to last. We raised children, paid bills, showed up to events, sat side by side at gatherings. There was nothing dramatic to point to, nothing that suggested failure. Stability became our signature, and over time, it became our proof.
Inside that stability, days moved quietly, predictably. We knew what the other would say before it was spoken. We divided responsibilities without much discussion. Meals happened at the same time. Conversations followed familiar paths. Nothing was broken enough to demand attention. That's what made it easy to keep going exactly as we were. The absence of conflict felt like success. The lack of disruption felt like peace.
I remember how reassuring that felt, especially in the middle years. When work was demanding and energy was thin, it helped to believe that at least this part of life was secure. Marriage, in that sense, felt like a completed task, something already handled. We weren't falling apart, so we must have been doing fine. Friends would say we were lucky. Family would call us an example. We even started to believe the image we were presenting. Long marriages carry a kind of authority. They don't invite many questions.
But comfort, when it goes unexamined, starts to replace other things quietly. Curiosity faded because we assumed we already knew each other. Presence thinned because we were always preparing for the next task. Emotional closeness didn't disappear. It just stopped being invited into the room.
Looking back now, I understand how convincing that surface can be. Longevity looks like health from a distance. Endurance looks like happiness if you don't look too closely. For a long time, we didn't. We mistook consistency for connection. And because everything held together, we assumed that meant everything was whole.
I noticed it in small ways. We stopped asking questions that didn't have an immediate purpose. We listened just enough to respond, not enough to understand. Evenings passed side by side, each of us occupied but not truly together. There was no anger in it. That's what made it easy to miss. Nothing felt wrong enough to fix. We were functioning. We were dependable. We were tired.
It didn't happen all at once. That's the part that still surprises me. We didn't wake up one day and decided to stop paying attention to each other. Life simply kept asking for practical things, and we kept answering. Work needed doing. Children needed raising. Bills arrived on time whether we felt close or not. Responsibility has a way of filling every available space if you let it. Over time, it filled ours.
Time did the rest. Years of routine stacked neatly on top of each other. Habits hardened. Silence became familiar instead of concerning. We grew accustomed to the idea that this was what long relationships looked like. Less effort, fewer surprises, steady and calm.
I told myself that closeness naturally faded, and that endurance was what mattered most. It was easier to believe that than to admit we had stopped reaching.
The realization didn't arrive as regret at first. It came as a mild confusion. I would notice moments where I wasn't sure what I wanted anymore, or when my preferences felt borrowed from habit rather than choice. I saw the same thing in him. We moved through days efficiently, but without much reflection.
The realization came slowly, then stayed. Responsibility had kept us moving, but it had also kept us apart. In taking care of everything else, we had stopped taking care of the space between us. And by the time I understood what had been traded away, routine had already become the relationship.
Over time, identity narrowed. Not dramatically, but steadily. Interests that didn't fit the routine were set aside. Parts of ourselves that required attention were postponed. We became good at adapting, less good at remembering what we'd adapted from.
There's a strange comfort in being able to say you stayed. For a long time, that felt like enough. We measured success by duration, by the simple fact that we were still in the same house, still sharing meals, still using the word we.
The distance between us wasn't loud. It was quiet enough to feel normal. We still cared. We were still considerate. But connection thinned into familiarity, and familiarity can exist without truly knowing the person beside you, or yourself.
That was the cost I hadn't accounted for. We stayed, yes, but in doing so without attention, we slowly misplaced parts of who we were. And staying together, I learned, doesn't automatically mean staying whole.
I realized one day that I couldn't clearly name when I'd last felt fully seen, or when I'd last felt fully present in return.
By the end, what stayed with me wasn't anger or even sadness. It was a clear, steady understanding of what endurance cost us. We lasted. We fulfilled the promise we made out loud. But along the way, we spent things we never meant to spend.
Attention, curiosity, the habit of asking who the other person was becoming. Those things didn't disappear in one decision. They were paid out slowly, day by day, until the account was empty.
I used to think endurance was proof of love. Now I know it's only proof of time. Time will pass whether you are present or not.
It will carry two people forward even if they are slowly drifting inward, becoming quieter versions of themselves.
The hardest part is that nothing dramatic marks the loss. There's no clear moment to point to and say, that's where it went wrong.
You look back and realize the texture of the years is thin. You remember responsibilities more clearly than moments. You remember what had to be done, not what was felt.
Living with that understanding now, I don't feel the urge to rewrite the past. I don't pretend it could have been perfect. I only see it honestly.
We paid for staying with pieces of ourselves we never got back. That's the trade no one warns you about.
If there's anything worth holding on to in that truth, it's this. Staying is not the same as being present, and surviving together is not the same as living fully. Endurance can carry you far, but without attention, it will quietly take more than you realize.
And while we're still here, we want to share what life has taught us. Maybe it'll spare you some of the heartache we had to learn the hard way. Maybe it'll make your relationship a little stronger, a little steadier. Either way, we're grateful you stayed to listen.